Go ahead, Uniform Kilo Hotel Group over at North and give us the call sign. The name of this is Jim and the delivery station is Joe. So go ahead, sir.
Right, hi everyone. I've just put this section of the video at the start after filming it to show what versions of Windows this will work with. I'm using Windows 10 64-bit, and where did I go to find this? It was powerx.com. I was trying to find what software, what Windows software, you know, whether Windows 10, 8, what versions the software will work with, and the USB programming cable drivers work with the Windows 10, 8.1, 8 and 7. Don't see any support there for XP, because I had someone ring me up last night with problems on XP. So it looks like it works on Windows 7, 8, 8.1 and 10. Although my friend did have limited success on Windows XP. Right, hi everyone, it's Chris here, 2E0UKH in the UK, and I thought I'd do a quick beginner's guide to the Anytone 868 because it's a little bit different to other radios that I've had, and you wouldn't believe the amount of questions and emails I get every day repeating the same stuff, which I'm happy to do. So let's first of all get hold of some files that we need. We're going to get hold of the DMR database for our radio for the 868, and you go to amateurradio.digital. That's the website, that's the URL, amateurradio.digital. And you go to the wizard, and there's 3 steps to this. You go to the wizard. First step, you choose your radio, alphabetical order. It's already set on the radio we've got, the Anytone 868. Step 2, you choose the countries you want in your DMR database. You can remove some countries or, you know, get rid of foreign speaking ones. It's up to you. If you've got another radio with holds less contacts, you can remove languages and countries from here. But we want them all. At the moment there's 113,000. Step 3, download the file. I'm clicking download and it's coming down here and it's called custom contacts. If I show it in the folder, it's gone to downloads. Look at all this crap in here. Right, so custom contacts, there it is, and I'm just going to pick that up and drop that on my desktop. So that's now on my desktop, and I'll also need the firmware, the latest firmware for the radio. So I'll type Anytone 868 firmware. And it's Connect Systems that I use, and this is the same procedure for all versions of the firmware. I'm going to put 2.32 in, so I'm downloading that and that's coming down the bottom. I'll just show it in the folder when it's done. So there it is, and it's zipped up. So I'm going to put that on the desktop as well. So there's my DMR database, and there's my software and firmware. So this is zipped up. You can see a zip there, so I'm just going to unzip this file. You can use any zipping tool, but in Windows there's one built in. So I'm going to extract this using 7-zip. You can extract this with whichever one you've got installed. Open with. I'm just seeing if I can find the default Windows one. Don't think it works in Explorer, does it? It does, yeah. Okay, it works in Explorer. So I'm just going to take these files out and put them in a new folder somewhere. I'm just trying to do it in such a way that it will work on your machine rather than saying use 7-zip or whatever it's called. So the 2.32 official files I've put into that folder. Right, so I've got the files downloaded that I need. Now we need to start installing stuff, and we're going to put the driver in for Windows. I've got 64-bit Windows. You might have that, you might have 32. But this, I've not got the wire plugged in for the radio. When installing a USB device, you don't have the wire in to start with. So in the folder of downloads, you've got your COM port drivers here, and this is RAR'd up, so this might give you a problem. You might need to download 7-zip. 7-zip is just a zip-in tool that does most things, and if I go to 7-zip, I can open the archive there, and if I double click on that folder, I've got 2 other folders in there, and you can just drag these out, I should think. So there's, drag the one out you want. I've got the 64-bit version. The other bit will be 32-bit version. So it's just an exe, an executable file, so when you click on that, it will install it. I've already got it in, so it's given me an option to uninstall it. Got to run it as administrator, so that's worth knowing. So right click on the driver, run as administrator. So I'm going to remove my driver. Anyway, you won't have to remove yours. I don't know why it's doing that. If you've already got it in, you won't need to uninstall it. This is an unusual situation. So you just click install and put the driver in. The driver has been installed. I don't know why I couldn't uninstall that, but it's not a problem. But this is about putting it in, not taking it out. So you put your driver in either 64-bit or 32-bit. And then you want to install the PC software. I've already installed it, it's down here. So where's the PC software? That's the firmware, that's the setup file, 1.32. You should only use that with the firmware 2.32, it'll have the same number on the end. So install the software. I've already done that, I don't need to put that in. You just click on that and click yes to everything basically, and that'll install the software, this one here. And you also need to install the updating software, which updates your icons and your firmware. That's that one there. And when you click on that and install it and say yes to everything, go through the process, it will give you the icon here to update. So I've already got it installed, I don't need to do that. So now it comes to updating the firmware. Excuse me. So I'll just check that driver works. The driver I've just installed, because I installed it over the top of another one. You'll be just installing it once. Right, so I'm just going to check that the driver works that I've installed, like I just said, but I've just had a rethink. Rather than running the exe for the programming software, you can use the QX code software. Now remember, I don't have the wire. I've just pulled the wire out because I was doing something else. From this stage, you don't have the wire connected. You can have it connected, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to do it from fresh. The wire's not connected, the radio is switched off. I'm going to put the wire in and switch the radio on. So the radio's come on, and I quite often get this where it doesn't show the COM port, and it's not a problem. Make sure that duplex is ticked. So I'm just going to, with the radio on and plugged in, I'm just going to pull the cable out of the computer, put it back in again, and it sometimes takes a few goes to pick up the COM port. There we go, COM port 6. Now, I'm picking up the radio. And actually I'm going to turn it off again because I want to get it in the correct mode. So I'm pressing transmit and the red button on the top. This is going to put the firmware in. So it's come up with COM port 6 again, automatically. There's no others to choose, so you can't get it wrong. And I'm going to open the firmware file. So there's the folder there. That's that one there. New folder 2. And I'll open this 2.32. That's the firmware. Double click on that. It now knows where the file is. I've now got to write it to the radio by clicking Write and OK. So this one doesn't take very long. While I'm doing this update in the background, I'm also rendering this actual video, believe it or not. There it is, look. Using DaVinci Resolve. Fantastic video editing software that's free. Absolutely fantastic software. So I'm looking at the radio. The radio's gone off and it's just switched on again. It's found the driver again, the COM port. So I'm looking at my radio and I've got the blue screen, it's working. So that's the firmware installed. I'm going to turn the radio off and I'm going to turn it on whilst holding the transmit button and the bottom side button. These are the little presets underneath the transmit button. So I'm going to switch it on holding transmit and the bottom side button, not the one next to it, the bottom one. So it's a bit awkward to do. Right, bottom one, transmit and on. And on the screen it says update mode, and that's what you use to update the icons. From time to time the icons change. In fact, I've even seen someone create their own icons by opening the file in an editor. Right, open file. So I'm now looking for the icons file. It's in this folder. So it now knows where the file is. Click Write, make sure duplex is ticked. I've got it on this speed, it works. So it's now changing the icons set in the radio. You don't have to do this every time. You just have to make sure you know when they've updated, and then I've only seen them change a few times. So the icons have been updated, and on the radio it's still saying update mode. This flummoxed me for a while, but it's done. There's no indication it's done other than it said on the screen here. So I can close that software, turn the radio off, turn it back on again, just to check I haven't bricked it. Yeah, it says Anytone. It's coming on and I can see the blue screen. So the radio is fully up to date. You can always check your COM port whether it's still connected by going to Set and COM port. So we're ready to rock and roll here. Right, I'm going to put a channel in channel 20 for my hotspot. But before I do that, I've got to go to put my call sign in. It's not that one. Where is it? It's in digital. So it's in digital. Radio ID list. So in there, I'm not going to do it now. I'll do it afterwards. But you put your user ID in there and give it a name, like give it your name or call sign, so you can identify it. If you had lots of them, you want to be able to identify it. So you put your ID in there, and I'm going to make a quick code plug that's got TAC 310 on it. So you go to talk groups, and there's a dummy one there. There's no such talk group. So I'm going to change that number. Double click on it. I'm going to change that to I'm going to change the number to TAC 310, so I'm just going to type in 310. That's the talk group number. I'll give it a name. TAC 310. So I've given it the ID of the talk group 310. Call alert, that's not necessary, you can put it in if you want. Wouldn't recommend it. Give it a name, TAC 310, and it's got to be group call. A talk group is a group call, and a private call would be an individual person's ID. So you could speak to someone in private. It's not actually private, you can hack it, but with promiscuous mode if you sat outside. But group call, TAC 310. Click OK. So it's now changed in there, 310 group call. I now need to make a channel, so I'm going to put on channel 20 my hotspot frequency, and my hotspot frequency is 439.8. 200. And I'm just going to copy it there in case I muck it up. So, and I'm going to paste it in there. So, receive frequency, transmit frequency. I'll give it a name. This is my my hotspot, but it's linked to TAC 310. So I'm making a channel here which is linked to 310. So I'll call it TAC 310. So it's set as digital. I don't want it on high power. It's a hotspot, so I'll set it to low power. All these are set as you want, you know, transmit, permit, always. Now, because we've only got one talk group, it's also automatically selected that talk group. If you had several, if you keep repeating this process, put a ton of them in, you'd have a list of them. If I click on it, there would be a list there, but I've only got one, TAC 310. Hotspots are color code 1 and slot 1 if they're a simplex hotspot. So that's ready to go really. I've made the call sign, made the name, I'm just scanning over the details in case I've made any errors. I don't want any receive group list. So radio ID, that's my radio, because that would have your call sign. If you put your name of your call sign next to your ID, it would have your call sign there. So I'll click OK, and that channel's been made. So I always double check. Got the frequency, it's digital, low power. That's the name, TAC 310, you can give it anything you want. That's the digital contact it's assigned to, and that will be your call sign there, or your name that you put in with your ID. So, the talk group is created, the channel is made, but you can't find it unless you put it in a zone. So I'll go to zone. And there's already a zone there called zone 1. You know, if I'm going through my hotspot, I might want to call that hotspot. So it's put all these channels in here. I don't want them in there. These are these parameters that are set on the first 8 channels that we were discussing. This isn't deleting them, it's just removing them. I don't want to ever go to them. And you shouldn't either. But it's got me 8 channels, and these are the available channels, and this is the actual zone. So there's the channel I made, TAC 310, and I'm just going to drop it in that zone. So this is the zone here. So when I go to the radio, I'll click on zone and I'll find this zone called hotspot. I think you can add up at least 200 odd channels in here. Might be 256. I've never had that many channels. I think I've definitely had over 200. So the channel's been made, and also you want to put the DMR database in. I'll show you how you do that in a moment. But putting the DMR database in takes a long time. It's like 15 minutes. So I'm just trying to think of a way of finishing off the video without actually doing it. But just before I do that, there's a couple of settings I'd recommend you alter. If you go to optional settings, now where is it? There's a couple of things I wanted to mention. I turn off call end prompt box. Otherwise it comes up with a stupid thing saying group call end, like a notification. It's really irritating, so I turn that off. You can go through these working out what they do. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't like the screen ever going off. So where's the auto backlit duration? So I set that to always. And there was one other important one I wanted to show you. Probably in digital fun. Now, when you've got your radio up and running, you can press list. Well, you go to manual dial. I like to go there by pressing list, back, manual dial, pressing the hash button to make it a group call, and then you can type in the talk group you want to go to, even if it's not programmed in here. And this setting here, group call hold time, that says how long it stays connected for. So why they couldn't have put unlimited or several hours, but 30 minutes is the maximum, so we've got to put up with that. And private call, person call, hold time. I'm never going to want to speak to someone for 5 seconds, so just in case I'll set that to 30 minutes. You don't have to do that. So that's about it. All these, you're going to find settings you want to put in or alter. But that's now set. And I'm going to show you how to put the DMR database in. Where is it now? It's in import. If you go to the top, tools, you can import and export tons of stuff. I want to import the DMR database that we downloaded from amateurradio.digital. So I'm going to import it into the software. It's not gone into the radio yet. So I want, where is it? Digital contact list. I'm just checking up. There's a few that sound similar. Digital contact list. So I'm going to import the digital contact list, which is the DMR database. And it's on my desktop. And it was called Custom Contacts. So I'll highlight that, click Open. So that's telling it where it is. It's not in the software yet. I've still got an option to cancel. So I'm going to import that into the software. I mean, this is 113,000 cells in a spreadsheet file, so it'd take a while to put it in. Now, I didn't mean to do that, so tools. Anyway, the contacts are in the software. So all you've got to do now is go program. I clicked on something that said view the contacts. There they all are. And all you've got to do now is write it to the radio. By going program, write it to the radio. Do you wish to continue? Now this is an important bit. On this one and only upload, you don't want to do this every time because it takes a long time, probably 10 or 15 minutes. You need to click digital contacts list. That will upload this massive file to your radio. You need to click that and OK. I'm not going to do it because it takes a long time. Trouble is, I don't think there's an option to get rid of this. So you're going to click OK and it will go across to the radio with the digital contacts. When you run the software again, if that's ticked, take it out otherwise it will do it every time. So because I haven't got a way to cancel this, I can't really do anything else. So write it to the radio and it'll work. Might as well do it. It'll take forever. Takes a very long time. The reason I didn't want to do it because I haven't put my ID in yet, but I'll do that off video. So look, it's really slow, so I'm not going to bore you with watching that bar go across. Right. Hope that helps. Right, so I wrote to the radio again, and just a word of warning, when I did that it come up on the screen it came up, what was the error? It paused for a long time, you know, end task, something like that, program has stopped responding, something like that, and I just left it and it said it in brackets after the name of the program, and I just had to wait and it worked. Anyway, I've wrote the code plug to the radio and it comes up like this in VFO mode, and what you've got to do is press menu, zone, and take it to that zone we created called hotspot, because you can put all your channels in here, talk groups, make channels, make talk groups, link them together, add them to this zone, and you'll have a nice collection. So select zone. So we're now switched to that zone called hotspot, and I'm still in VFO mode. You've got to get it into memory mode, so on my radio I've set it to P2 on the P2 button. Press that once, that will go to the hotspot. So I've got a station standing by for me to make a contact. There's actually someone. I just got after it. By the way, this video took about 5 hours to make, all the different sections, editing it. So if this has been useful to you, please subscribe, because you know, the more subscribers I get, the more videos I'll make, decent ones. So if you want to show your support, please subscribe, and you'll see more stuff like this. Right, so I'm going to give Shannon a call on he's on 310, TAC 310. So I'm just moving stuff. KC5 RBC 2E0 UKH.
KC5RBG, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thanks for waiting there, Shannon, much appreciated. Yeah, I was just doing some alterations to the radio and showing what it's like when I switch it on. It was in VFO mode. I went into memory mode, and then I went to the zone that I'd created, and yeah, it's working. It says on the screen TAC 310. I've got my DMR database in, and how's it sounding to you?
The audio on it sounds really, I'm impressed. It's real crisp and clear, and sounds like you're right next to me. No wavering in it at all.
Okay, well, thanks for standing by, much appreciated, and I won't make this any longer. So thanks for the contact, thanks for getting the demo part done, and I'll say 7.3, and speak to you soon. Many thanks, much appreciated.
Well, it was wonderful speaking to you in person, and again, thanks for your videos. They're very educational, and I appreciate the time you put into making them and make informed decisions on the equipment. It's nice that someone's able to do that for us. Anyway, you have a good one, and take care. KC5RBG.
Yeah, many thanks for that, Shannon. Much appreciated. I have got another one in the post actually. That'll be here in less than a week, and it's a Retivis radio, and it's a dual band radio. I won't say what it is because it hasn't been released yet, but it's a dual band radio, and it's a cheapo. It's a cheap, you know, it's a low cost, a bit like the Baofeng low cost radios, but it's dual band, and it's got a really nice design. I think it looks just like the Anytone 868, so it's quite an interesting design. So keep an eye out for that, and speak to you soon. 2E0UKH, clear. Cheers.
I'll definitely keep my for it. Look forward to 2E0UKH. This is KC5RBG. Will be clear, 73.
Right, so I'll turn that off. Don't want to tie up the talk group any longer. And that was quite a big video. That took a long time preparing that. And I do all the recording for these videos on my Angry Birds headphones. They're still working. I had to glue the mic back on. But just thought that'd make you laugh. Right, 732E0UKH. Going to relax now.